Guys, welcome to Coastal Reactions once again. Thank you so much for liking and sharing. Lala, you're very much welcome. Today we have a very major topic on our hands. I mean, guys, this is really major. 2011 to 2020 is a decade. I mean, 2010. No. 11 to 2020 now. You can't 11 join now. Yeah. So that's 10 years.
Yes.
And in those 10 years, we've seen the rise of Afrobeats.
Yes.
I mean, major contributors to the rise of Afrobeat has been, you know, the artists themselves, TVs, radio, the online guys, bloggers, blogger. You know, we saw the rise of digital distribution as well in all of this. But the major players, the subjects are the artists, the guys who make the music, the guys who go to perform this. And within those years, Lala, we've seen, you know, the likes of Wizkid come up. We've seen the likes of Davido come up. We've seen the likes of Tiwa Savage come up. BURNA Boy come up. Olamide come up. Yemi Alade come up as well. I mean, the list is endless.
Yeah.
These guys are really, in fact, before we continue, even M.I. Abaga as well.
Ah, my boy.
Exactly. So before we even continue, we have to give them thumbs up. Doing this.
And to the ones who missed out, let me say, we forget to plenty.
These guys are the realest MVPs. It is not easy, consistent. I mean, we've worked with artists, even right here at Gusto, and we know how hard it is to release, to execute the release of one song. These guys have done severally. You understand? Collaborations as well. They've gotten, so everything has been, you know, really been good. But of course, when it comes to awards, Drake last weekend got awarded as the Billboard Artist of the Decade. That is major. And we had to bring it back to, you know, down home to say, okay, Drake over there, let's do Afrobeats Artist of the Decade. And we saw a lot of bass blows. Adesope Olajide Shubsidu actually in his podcast talked about how Davido, for him, he got bashed for that.
Everyone know me. When I saw him say those things, I understood. I know where he was. He's just
quite close to David.
It's not only David that is close to. He's close to a lot of people. But he just wanted. I don't know. Maybe because he feels David has always thought he's not getting the due accolades, right? Maybe something to just put the guy's mind that is.
And then he came up and said, okay, you know what? If you don't agree with me, no wahala. Let's ask this question. Let's ask people about this. Since Billboard awarded Drake the Artist of the Decade, who will you give that accolade to in African pop culture? Comment below. He mentioned African pop culture. Nigerians did not mention a single non-Nigerian.
And when it comes to Afrobeats, who they lead the way?
Let's talk about Nigeria. Don Jazzy, Maven Records, who signed Tiwa Savage before, mentioned this name, Wizkid. Why not Tiwa Savage for him?
Come on, man. What he did there is just being honest, right? He's not letting loyalty.
He's being honest to him, or you also agree with him?
We'll come to that.
Okay.
But he's being honest to the question being asked.
Okay.
That's in all honesty. He's not letting loyalty or his heart or anything people he has worked with to play a part in answering the question, which is exactly what he did right there. And you have to salute him for it. Right now, you know that Maven and the guys at DMW are close as well. And I don't know if any of them will feel disappointed. He also does the thing with BURNA Boy. But then it's an opinion of him. I don't think him mentioning Wiz even demeans the other guys' efforts towards Afrobeats over the past 10 years. But then what he did right here was bold of him, and you have to give him kudos. Okay, so
someone eventually, you know, someone commented on his post. Well, before that, someone said Davido is the African Drake, greatest Afrobeat artist of the decade. This is another opinion different from Don Jazzy.
Who is this one?
A fan.
TMW, 30 BG people.
He fine. Doesn't, well, I don't know. And then another Duke of Spades came up and said, as much as I will, now this is very profound. He said, as much as I will hate to admit. Why would he hate to admit? And he said, it's Wiz.
Because he's a David guy.
A lot might say David, but forget, Wiz was also a driving tool for David.
Facts.
And it's still very much relevant today.
Facts.
David is a great guy, but artist of the decade is Wiz.
Yes.
He didn't even say it has to be Wiz. Say he was very direct with it.
I actually like this comment. You know why? Because they actually broke it down. Because what was driving Davido was Wizkid. Because Davido also confirmed it. That what was the driving factor in him being a bigger artist? He said it was competition with Wiz. So yes, Wizkid is that X factor in the whole, everybody trying to be as big as everything. And his impact, even till today, is felt.
Okay, so let's go to these three guys.
Yeah.
Now, someone also, you know, I mean, some people would argue, oh, BURNA Boy is this, BURNA Boy. I saw a comment actually that said, BURNA what? That the time BURNA was not relevant, Wiz was popping and getting awards. The time BURNA became relevant, Wiz was still getting all the awards and everything.
Yes.
So BURNA coming up and springing up and becoming, you know, everything, being everywhere, did not reduce this guy's, you know, awards. Did not bring, you know, not bring him down in any way and all of that. Anyway, let's consider these three guys. I mean, these are like the major players. Davido in the past 10 years, would you say he does not deserve the artist of the decade, looking at what he has done to awards, achievement, the music?
Does it deserve it? It's one thing to actually deserve to be in the running for it, right? Yes, it deserves to be in the running. Like, you can choose. I don't think BURNA Boy should even be in the running, because we know BURNA Boy is from what, 2018 or 2017? No, 2018.
His fans would argue that.
No, let them argue it. It's fine, but we all know BURNA's peak was 2018. BURNA has been in the game since when? 2011, right?
2011.
Long time, 7 years. He peaked after 7 years. You're talking about a Wizkid that peaked 2 different or 3 different eras from his start, when he started in 2010 or thereabouts. Yeah. You're talking about a David that also peaked like in 2 different eras of his career.
Yeah.
And you now have to compare the BURNA, who has only peaked once in his career. He's only peaked one period, which is 2018 till now.
Yeah.
Or let's say to the last Grammy and things like that.
Yeah.
These guys have peaked and re-peaked at different stages of their career. You get, so players in the long term, over the course of 10 years, I think it has to be between David and Wizkid. I don't think BURNA has to be in a discussion.
Okay, if you say BURNA not been in discussion, looking at what he has achieved in the last 3 years and all of that, the awards, the songs, the charts, the streaming numbers and all of that, don't you think that, you know, it's a major you know, claim for a shout at being the artist of the decade?
If we're doing 5 years, and if you look at what's it called, Billboard, I don't know, they said what, their own artist of the year, and they chose Drake.
Yes.
And see the consistency of Drake. Since when he began with from best I ever had. See his consistency from then till now. Almost every year the guy is getting hits and he's getting accolades and he's winning awards, right?
Yeah.
You could say the same for Wizkid. Yeah. You could say the same for David, from the start of their career till now. But can you say the same for BURNA?
No.
Exactly. So which is why I said he can't be in that discussion. He can't possibly be in that discussion. If we're talking past 4 years, 5 years, and yes, that period was good for him too. But when we're talking 10 years, we can't let recency bias play a part in us choosing who's artist of the decade. So I think that discussion is between David and Wiz.
So if we're to bring someone to actually, you know, replace BURNA Boy, you know, on this, you know, line and everything, we've got Tiwa Savage, we've got Yemi Alade, we've got Emma Abaga, we've got Olamide Bado, you know, I mean, amongst others. Shout out to other guys as well.
Yeah.
You know, these 4 guys, who exactly would you want to pick for the sake of recency bias that you called removing BURNA? Who exactly should be?
If we had the Billboard Africa, that's not dependent on whatever happens in the US or in the EU, something African wide, I think I would go for an Olamide. I think I'll go for an Olamide. In fact, even if we had, let's say, if there was going to be a Billboard Africa, the biggest market would be what? Nigeria or South Africa, right? for that reason, I'm going to have Olamide in there, because if the biggest market is Nigeria, then Olamide dominated as much as any of these guys. He dominated more than a BURNA boy locally.
For 10 years.
For 10 years. Straight, consecutively. No
straight up, bro. Straight.
So I think I will have an Olamide in there. This is not a shade to BURNA what he has achieved, but in the space of 10 years, maybe come and ask me 5 years later, and BURNA is still top of the game 5 years later, right? Then we know that the next artist of the decade, we can consider him, because yes, we can see the consistency there, not just something that happened recently and then we now take it and say that's good. I think yes, even for what the question is really, let's just stick to Wiz and BURNA.
What Wiz and David rather?
Wiz and David rather.
What exactly has this guy, what has he done? We've seen people talk, oh, this guy is the driving force for David. Of course, some people will say he's also the driving force for for BURNA. It seems to be like the SI unit for everyone. How exactly did he get about getting this undisputed crown, according to so many people? You've not told me who exactly is between these two. But yeah, how exactly has this guy gotten that undisputed crown?
Well, I think you see that period like which came about. He was young.
Lack of competition.
There was competition. Even yes, if you try and think back, when Wizkid
was this low-key guy?
What's his name?
I forgot his name now. Something kid. Flow sick.
Not even forget Flow sick. When Wiz started, right, he had this side, all this, the way he was singing, right? Apart from Flow sick, there was a certain Dami Crane. That is similar with the sound.
There was a young six singing at that time.
There was a young
rapping.
There were a lot of all these young who were already at the time trying to sing like Wiz, because they saw Wiz style and how people accepted his style. Not even Wiz self, even the Egbons, them Sam Clef and them things like Jabon or Jablet, what they call them.
J-Ru and the rest of them.
At that time, they were all doing the same method of singing. Just to me, if I even go to my Twitter and maybe go to my messages with perhaps a Dami Crane or something, I was there. I mean, he sent me a song once. I'm like, okay, you need to stop sounding like Wiz. You need to be yourself. That's what I typed in there. I typed that in there. So since a young age, when he broke out into the scene, people have been trying to sound like Wiz. So that means his style from the get-go was unique, and he was already an influence on several other people at his young age. Then he started doing his thing, EME, and even him blowing influenced a certain Davido to say, this boy is young now, I can do what he's doing now. And he started doing his own. He didn't start doing his own.
It's bringing back memories, man. Like Wiz.
Exactly. Wiz at his very young age had already been an influence. Fast forward to the middle of his career, when he left EME, another, if you remember that time when Wiz was just dropping bangers from the UK, he was just dropping bangers upon bangers upon bangers. Didn't he influence any other people? Yes. Influenced a lot of people. Fast forward till today, we're now seeing his influence in all these other this new generation artists, right? Demomale, Bella Shmurda, Jamo Piper, Bad Boy Teams.
Everyone looks up to
you see him, Abi, you don't see him?
Influenced generations, several.
So
for years.
If we're not going to go by the question, and that's not saying David did not influence. David had his own part in, through his own story. But the thing is, Wiz influenced Davido. Davido influenced other people. So are we not going to say, just to answer your question? Just to answer your question, I feel this guy, like everybody has been saying, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean that there's any other person in this industry who has had as much impact. We're not saying the other people have not had impact, but who has had the most impact. And going to Shopsidu's question, said in Afrobeats pop culture. Afrobeats pop culture in the last 10 years. The answer can only be one person. It has to be Wiz.
I remember Wiz actually, made young people actually started wearing G-Shock watches then.
The Allah at Your Boy video. See how, although that was a copy of another video, but you see how influenced the young look, cap and everything, wearing bikes all around.
Everyone started wearing the I'ma keep and all of those kind of things. it was actually a thing at that time. Anyway, shout out to Wizkid. Shout out to Davido as well. Fans of David are not gonna agree with you. Fans of BURNA.
One fan of David has already said he hates to admit it. He's a David guy.
Yeah, he is a David guy.
People like that I respect, because they leave away fandom or stand-up. They put away their sentiments and think and make it not be like say everything I go to support about this. If you're going to be truthful to yourself, right? Truthful to yourself and consider it well, you know that even the person you want to advocate for was influenced by the other person.
Exactly.
Yes, he was, because he confessed it and he said it. He said so in his interviews. Which motivated him. The band motivated maybe. Those were his influences to start music. The fact that Wizkid was young and getting it meant he also could. It was a motivating factor for him. It's a no-brainer for me. Sure.
Anyways, guys, shout out to Wizkid, shout out to Davido, shout out to BURNA Boy, Tiwa Savage, Emma Baga, Olamide, Yemi Alade, and everybody, even the grandpas them. Yes, the band, P-Square, to Baba, everybody. Guys, thank you so much for keeping the Afrobeat culture alive. Thank you so much for doing everything. And shout out to every of the media guys doing their thing to push Afrobeat culture out there. Of course, Lala has said it all. Wizkid, Ibrahim Ayodeji Balogun, the Machala one of Africa, for him, is the Afrobeats artist of the decade. That's the last 10 years in terms of the most impact and everything in terms of achievement. Of course, Davido also has a shout. BURNA Boy, if he does another 5 years, maybe, you know. Tiwa Savage as well, massive respect. Olamide, you know, should also have a shout. Of course, everyone doing their thing to push the Afrobeat scene. Let's have your thoughts on that, or we'll see you on the next one. This one, making no cost 5 for comment section. I beg. We'll see you guys. Peace.